In today's golf video, I'm giving you 10 habits of a scratch golfer, or low handicappers in general. What does scratch golf look like? And what are scratch golfers doing to achieve such low scores? Before we get into the video, if you're new to the channel, hello and welcome. And if you're a returning viewer, hello again. Quick reminder for you all, if you're not subscribed to the channel and you enjoy the content, make sure you hit that big red subscribe button. Not enough of you are subscribing, and I know that from my analytics. Also, hit the thumbs up and hit the bell so you get notified of when I upload all my new videos. The first habits we're going to be talking about of a scratch handicapper or a low handicapper is in the teeing area, and I've got a few for you. Number one is that you might see scratch golfers working along the tee like this, and they're basically trying to find a flat part of the tee, and that will be with any club, whether it's driver, whether it's an iron on a par 3 like I am here. They're basically trying to work out where a flat part of the tee is. Generally speaking, I play with high handicappers and they just stand on the tee, put their tee in the ground, and their balls above their feet, balls below your feet. You kind of expect tees to be flat, and you would hope that this is one of the areas of a golf course that will be flat. But I promise you, I've played some of the best courses in the world and not even they have dead flat tees. So always double check when you're about to tee that ball up. Just set yourself up to an imaginary ball first and see if that tee is flat. Second habit that you might see good golfers doing is picking a side of the tee to tee up from as well. So if the player has a stock draw, they always go to a draw. You'll tend to see, for a right-handed golfer, that they tend to move more towards the left-hand side of the tee. You can start your ball further up the right-hand side of the hole and bring it back. And then obviously the opposite, if you're more of a stock fader, a good golfer, you'll see them starting to tee up on the right hand side, open up the left hand side of the hole to then move their ball back in. Habit one of a scratch golfer and habit two can both be put together. I like to see more of a draw on my standard shot, so I'm going to be standing more to the right hand side of this teeing area, and then I'm going to find that nice flat part of the tee and then tee my ball up. I'm now in a perfect position to open this hole up, start my ball down the right, draw it in, and I've got a nice flat hitting area to tee up off of. Two things there that you might not even realise that a scratch player is doing. My next habit that you'll see low handicap or scratch golfers doing is this. When good golfers aren't happy with either the way that the hole looks up in front of them, or there's danger on one side that they just can't go towards, they'll have a shot that they can run to which will keep them in play. If you don't do this already or haven't tried this, experiment with tee height. Teeing the ball higher generally will help you hit more up on it, hitting lower spin, hitting higher, drawier bomb drives, whereas teeing it lower, you'll start to hit it lower on the face, get a bit more spin, get a bit more control, lower launch, and generally goes more towards a cut. So when I stand on a hole that I'm not happy with, I don't like the look of it, or there's a bit of danger up there and I just want to try and keep my ball in play, I tee my ball down and try and hit sort of a spinnier, not looking for my full out drive, spinnier, less distance in play drive. I'm not saying that everyone's will be that, but good players, scratch players, will have a go-to when they're not happy with the situation in front of them. And my final habit that you'll see good players do, or scratch golfers do, is that they always aim the club face first. They'll aim the club face and then set their body up in regards to what shot they're playing. Instead of aiming that club face first and then setting your body up after, I see high handicappers do this all the time. Tee their ball up, stand to the side, get their feet somewhere down the middle of the fairway, and then put their club face down. All of a sudden, my club face is pointing way up the right-hand side, my ball position's wrong, my whole setup's wrong. The next low handicapper that you see at your golf club or on the weekend on the TV, the tour pros, have a look at how they go into the golf ball. Routine, routine, routine. Get your start direction. I've got this ball teed down a little bit lower. I'm going for my safety. I'm aiming that club face up the left where I want that ball to start. Then I'm setting my body up in relationship to where I'm aiming that club face, and then I'm going for my drive. Nice little cut, probably up the right hand side of the fairway. Use tee height as a weapon and find that safety shot when you're not confident on what's in front of you, and aim that club face first. The next habit of a low handicap golfer, you won't even know they're doing this one. Back down there over that dip is where the tee was, and I've just walked up this massive hill. But as soon as I get sight of my golf ball, which is up there on the fairway, I'm now thinking about my shot. I'm looking at the pin position. Pin position's on the right. I can't miss right and short side myself. There's a massive part of the green left of that pin. So that's going to be where I'm aiming. Wind's behind me. I don't know what the ball's lying like yet, but I'm already trying to work out what my next shot is going to be before I even get to my ball. Now, you might be playing with mates and things, and you might have noticed this. Good players, yeah, they chat to a certain point, but then the chat will stop when they get to a certain distance from their golf ball, because it's game time. You want to hit the best shot that you can, and they switch off from the conversation and start thinking about this next shot. The next habit that you'll see lower handicappers doing kind of blends in with the previous one. It's time to finish assessing what might go on with this shot. I've zapped my yardage there, and I now know that I've got 197 left to the pin. Now, the yardage is irrelevant, but higher handicappers will just grab their club that they hit that distance and go and whack it. Lower handicappers will now assess the lie. They'll look at it. I'm on the fairway. Yeah, it's quite a good lie. Now I'll grab my club. Downwind's probably a big 6-iron, isn't it? But that's not it for good golfers. Now I'm going to put this club behind my golf ball, and if it wasn't lying nicely, I would now think about my options again. I wouldn't just carry on and hit my shot. I'd be thinking, right, that's now sat down, or I've got a tuft of grass behind me. How do I now need to approach this shot? Just because I've got my yardage doesn't mean that's the club that I'm going to hit. I need to assess everything, and it started all the way back there as soon as I saw my golf ball. My 6-iron can go 140, my 6-iron can go 210. It depends on the situation, and good golfers are able to do different things with their golf club depending on how their ball is lying. My 6-iron doesn't just go 185 to 190 every single shot. It depends on the situation. Am I in the rough? Am I in a fairway bunker? Is the ball above my feet, below my feet? Am I into the wind? Is it off the left or right or downwind? And those two habits that I've just talked about are going to help you pick the right club more often, and hopefully help you start hitting some more greens. And one other thing before I hit this shot, landing conditions. They're also thinking about that. Is it going to bounce? Is it going to be soft, depending on what conditions you're playing in? Good golfers are taking every bit of information that they can to hit the best shot possible. Up the left-hand side, should catch the left side. Oh, it might not actually. Oh, no, it hasn't. That's going to be a chip. Before we go and hit that chip shot, and I give you some short game habits of low handicaps or scratch golfers, I've got one more on approach play. Low handicaps, scratch golfers know their limits. Good golfers are going to know what club is going to be able to get over this tree or not. And then in the situation, if they can't manage it, or if it's too dodgy and dicey, they'll find another route. Maybe a low sort of draw, chippy draw around the tree. But good golfers know their limits in all situations. I think I can get this over here. Easy. Oh, and that's at it. Oh, stop it. And they only know their limits because they haven't been scared to fail. They've tried all of these scenarios. They've tried all these situations with all clubs, and they've hit that tree many a time. But they've learned from their mistakes, and now they know their limits, and you need to too. Do it in practice rounds. It's great. Hit a shot behind a tree, use a certain club that you think might get over, and if it doesn't, now you know what that sort of height looked like and the distance you were from it, and start building that data up and up and up. Knowing your limits doesn't mean just hitting over trees or under trees. It means picking the right club from rough. In a rubbish lie, in the rough, trying to do too much, your ball will only go halfway. Add a bit more loft and progress that ball further down the hole.
Don't make simple mistakes. Into the short game area now. Let's see if I can get up and down for my birdie. One habit that you'll see good players around the short game area doing is always having a landing spot. I'm visualizing how I want this ball to make it by the pin, and I gauge where I want that ball to land. And it's going to be sort of, I'll give myself a little bit of a margin for error, and then I'm going to be trying to land it in this sort of spot. Once I've picked my spot, I'll then pick my club again. What you tend to see high handicappers do is just grab the same old club every single time, not have a landing spot, pop it up in the air, goes halfway, or they thin it through the back. Lots of the habits that I've mentioned throughout this video can be used in so many areas of your game. I've got my club, I've got my landing spot. I'm just going to try and land it on that spot, and the club that I've picked will do the rest of the work for me. Pitch sat quite nice. I've not read the break and I've missed right, but distance control is pretty spot on. Before we go and tap that one in, another habit that you won't see low handicaps doing is taking on shots in tournaments that they haven't practiced. To get this ball close, I've got to flop this high up in the air and get it landing like a butterfly, like so soft. And I haven't practiced this for such a long time. So if I was in tournament conditions now, I probably wouldn't risk it, because I don't want to flop that ball up and it only go halfway and I have another chip. I'm literally going to do what I can to give myself a putt, and that is pitch it down by the rough, get it on the green. I'm not doing anything special there. I've just hit a chip. It's not the closest, but the flop shot that's going to get that ball the closest, I haven't practiced, and I'm not going to put myself in danger of having 2 chips. Don't play shots that you haven't practiced. Can I make my birdie though? That's the question. A little bit right to left. And then I've got my final habit of scratch or low handicap golfers for you. Oh, boom. Final habit of a scratch golfer is all about putting. Obviously, every golfer wants to hole every putt, but in reality, we know that's not going to happen. Low handicap scratch golfers are putting so much emphasis on distance control to eliminate 3 putts. They're making it their #1 priority. I've probably hit that tiny bit too hard. No, that's pretty good. Distance control is so important. Yes, to get that ball close on longer distance, but for short putts as well. Take this putt for example. It's a little bit left to right, I should think, but if I've got good distance control, I can make this ball drop in that hole in plenty of different ways. #1, straight and firm. Bang. #2, a little bit less power and get that ball turning more towards the middle of the cup. Distance control isn't just about those long distance putts. It's about being able to control speed to then be able to pick certain lines that you want to hold those short ones as well. I hope that helps. 10 habits of a scratch golfer or a low handicap elite golfer that you'll be seeing them do on a daily basis. Some of them you won't even see them doing, like I've mentioned, but let's start adding them into your games to help you lower those scores. Thanks all for watching, and again, if you're enjoying the content and the channel, make sure you hit that big red subscribe button, hit the thumbs up as it helps the channel, and turn that bell on so you get notified of when I upload all my new videos. Thanks all for watching. I'll see you in the next one.